We are the Thunderbolts!
Can't call ourselves that.
God, thank you.
The big marketing gimmick behind Thunderbolts has been that this is unique as far as Marvel movies go, sporting a presumably thriftier budget than usual and dialing the pyrotechnics and heroics way down. This seems to be an attempt to make a smaller, contained kind of Marvel movie, which doesn't need to make $800 million to be considered a success. Whether or not audiences that have become accustomed to the everything but the kitchen sink approach will go for this new vibe is a different thing, but kudos to the studio for at least trying something a little different. So in this one, after being betrayed by their boss Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Yelena, Florence Pugh, U.S. Agent, Wyatt Russell, Ghost, Hannah John Kamen, and Red Guardian, played by David Harbour, with a little help from Bucky, once again played by Sebastian Stan, team up to take on a new threat. So, this is a smaller movie than expected, with it a lot more like the first wave of MCU films that we received in the wake of the original Iron Man. It spends a lot of time on characterization and doesn't even really have a traditional villain, with it taking a surprisingly cerebral turn in the movie's climax, which I found quite refreshing. Yet, as different as these parts of the movies are, and as pleasantly as they surprise me, you do still have to plow through a lot of typical exposition which ties the movie into the greater franchise as a whole. In fact, with virtually the entire cast already announced for Avengers Doomsday, this feels like a bit of a prelude to bigger things, and less of a movie that succeeds by its own merits. So basically, it feels like an old-school movie in both good ways and bad ways. It's not as over-the-top as some of the more recent movies, but like Iron Man 2, Thor, and a few of the other OG films, it does feel like just a big tease for a lot bigger things to come. Even still, Thunderbolts gets a lot of mileage out of the cast, which is led by Florence Pugh as the increasingly fed-up Yelena, who's grieving the death of her sister and looking for a bigger purpose in life beyond being a mercenary. She's also haunted by past misdeeds, which makes her fit right into this crew of anti-heroes. While Sebastian Stan's return as Winter Soldier is being hyped up, and he certainly is cool when he re-enters the fray, Wyatt Russell as the disgraced U.S. agent makes an even bigger impression, with him initially standoffish with the rest of the team before the extent of his own disgrace is revealed. His redemption arc is one of the better aspects of the movie, with him, Pugh, and Lewis Pullman as Bob, a hapless victim of Valentina's experiments, really the movie's heart. By contrast, David Harbour's return as Red Guardian is largely played for laughs, which is needed as much the movie is about processing trauma, and the simplicity of his character gives the movie a bit of needed levity. Of the crew, Hannah John Kamen's Ghost gets fairly little to do, although she does make a welcome return, while Olega Kurylenko barely registers as Taskmaster, having little more than a walk-on. While the trailers make Thunderbolts seem action-packed, I was surprised at how modest the carnage is this time, with the IMAX-enhanced action scenes not all that much more dynamic than anything you'd see on Disney+. Director Jake Schreier, who comes from the indie world, gives the movie a bit of quirkiness, at least as much as Marvel will allow, with it even having a score by Everything Everywhere All at Once's Son Lux. However, the promos saying that this would be an A24-style Marvel pick are a bit laughable, as even if they mix up the formula a little bit, it's still a Marvel movie through and through. Not that there's anything wrong with that, mind you. Overall, Thunderbolts is a major step up from the disappointing Captain America Brave New World, although it's not the game changer some of the breathless early junket reviews suggest. With Marvel movies, you always have to take that first wave of reviews not 100% as legit because, hey, in my opinion, they always fall a little prey to all the hype. Even still, I had a better time with Thunderbolts than any other Marvel movie, outside of course, Deadpool and Wolverine, in recent memory. And I'd wager that Guardians 3 was the last great one. This is not a great one, but it's a pretty good one. Granted, the bar hasn't been too high recently, and we all know that's true. This is still very decent, and hopefully it starts to move the franchise back in the right direction, where we can actually start investing in new characters and having favorites again. So I give this a pretty solid 7 out of 10.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.